Donald?
This thing be worth 30,000.
I'm live, by the way. Just
Gotcha.
what? So I'm confused. Are you saying that we previously didn't have the bad Carfax factored into here, and now we do, or?
Yeah.
So.
Again, it's a little convoluted, but a month ago, the car was in there twice, one under Stephen and Bull's name, and then 10 days later under my name. Stephen had it at 35, I had it at 31 and change, or 32. I refreshed it today and looked at the Carfax and some Carfax on it. So I put in for that.
Yeah, let me look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, it's decent miles for the year. All right. I modified that to 30. I think that's a fair number, and we're cooking with gas now.
Thank you.
All right, what's going on, everybody? No life. Come on, brother or sister, whoever you are. It's a little unfair to say, don't you think? All right, what's going on? What is going on? Happy to be here. When I lease a car with Mercedes, is maintenance covered? You can get a prepaid maintenance package that you can include in your lease payment, and you get a discount for including it in the lease. So that is the way to do that. Does all MB offers Amex? No, Amex was last year. We don't have that anymore, unfortunately. What's the fastest car on the lot right now? Well, we've got an SLS Black Series up front. That's pretty fast. How many cars out so far today? We got 7 new ones so far today. Ty, what's going on? Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Hey, Doug, how much say do you have when being able to discount a car more than you normally would? Is there a preset number you can't exceed? So DN, we do all of our pricing right up front. So I go in at least every week and I monitor our new car pricing based on what's going on with the market. What's our day supply? Do we have too much, too little of inventory, right? And then we make sure that we're looking at other market transactions to undercut those a little bit and be as competitive as possible. And with used cars, we have a gentleman who's just out of college whose job is only to be scanning the market for all used cars every day, right, and comparing us to other used cars like it, and we make sure that we're priced the way we need to be priced. So we take a crack at every, we put our best price up front on everything. And as far as trades are concerned, when we plug our information into AccuTrade and look at the trade there, we always want to get a manager to look at it just to make sure that there's not a vehicle that we think might be worth a little bit more based on what it is, right? So that's kind of what we just did here, where we re-looked at a car that we looked at about a month ago, and I think that it's worth a little bit more than AccuTrade's putting on it, right? So, but anyway, it really, it's all data driven, right? Everything we do here is data driven. So, but whatever the case, what's the best lease right now, Christian? The plug-in hybrids are fantastic right now. GLCs and GLEs specifically are just dynamite deals. They're absolutely tremendous, and I think everybody should definitely take advantage of that for sure. Jeff, I know you're an MB guy, but if you owned a Lexus, would you make the switch to BMW? If so, what model would you pick? If I owned a Lexus, would I switch to BMW? I mean, why not? Sure. BMW is a great brand. BMW makes a lot of good cars. It really just depends. It's a hard question to answer without knowing what kind of Lexus you have now and what's important to you as far as for your lifestyle, your needs. Are you looking for an SUV? Are you looking for something fun? Right, a lot of different ways to answer that question for sure. David, is it true EQS suspended indefinitely effective now? Not effective now, David. No, they are going to. There are some 2026s that are in production, and they will produce those up until September 1st. So September 1st, they're going to pause production for the U.S. market, and I totally understand that decision. Right, they're going to feel out how things change, what the landscape is on EVs moving forward. So they'll still make them for other parts of the world, but yeah, they'll be paused as of September 1st. How does the one pay lease payment work, and do you lose your money in the case of total loss? So yeah, Jay, you don't lose all of it, but the way that a one pay lease works, or a single payment lease, there's different names for it. It's all about the same stuff. But essentially what you're doing is you're paying the entirety of the lease up front. And in exchange for doing that, you're going to get a discount on the money factor, which is the rent charge on a lease, right? So think of it like giving all of your money to a bank, and they're going to pay you some interest in exchange for doing that in a savings account or a money market account, that sort of thing, okay? So it works in the same way. You get a discount for doing that, but here's the problem. I'm not a fan of single payment leases for several reasons. One, I think that that's just a lesser version of paying cash, right? I don't like the idea of parting with that much cash when it comes to a depreciating asset. Two, in the event of a total loss, so think of it this way. You have a residual that you know day one when you lease a car, and the residual is the buyout price at the end of your lease, okay? And that comes from the manufacturer, and it depends on the model that you pick and how many miles a year you're gonna do, etc. So we know what that residual value is on day one. Your payoff for a one pay lease will always be about the residual value, okay? Because you've already made all your payments up front. So if you wanted to buy that car out at any point in time, your buyout figure would be the number. So if your car gets totaled, then what's going to happen is the insurance company is going to give you money for that car, and it's going to be based on the replacement value of a comparable vehicle. So if you've had that car for a little while, or even not that long, the number that they pay you is certainly not going to be necessarily what you paid for the car, okay? And so a lot of the money, not all of it, but at least some of the money that you paid up front for the single payment lease will be gone, right? So to me, the risk is no different than putting a huge down payment on a lease, where you run the risk of losing a lot of money in a total loss. Whereas in a pay-as-you-go lease, you total the car, it's game over, right? The car's paid off, gap insurance is included, you walk away, right? So your risk is much lower when you're doing a pay-as-you-go lease versus a single payment lease. Okay, hopefully that helps. So let's see, Jingo, Toyota is better than what? Let's see you in the camp. Yo, what's going on, Joel? What's the most dependable MB that's 10 years old or around that old? Old, I love the older MLs. The older MLs are great. C-classes are really great, right? Older C-classes are not overly complicated cars. They're very reliable over time. Honest opinion on a Cadillac CT5 Blackwing versus Mercedes C63 AMG S. Well, I think that right now the CT5 Blackwing is probably going to be a more popular car for most car enthusiasts. I mean, the C63 I think is super cool, but understandably a lot of people are not into it because of the 4-cylinder engine, and that will be going away. It will get a 6-cylinder engine in the near future. So, Ryan, did you see delivered response to your used Toyota video? Of course, I absolutely did. So, again, I think Tommy made a couple of good points in that video, but I also think that he, like a lot of the people that watched it, didn't really get the point that I was making, which was, so his argument is that people who buy used Toyotas are buying them because of tried and true engines and technology in the older Toyotas. But my response to that is that every piece of engine technology was new at some point in time. Okay, there had to be a time when it wasn't tried and true. Okay, and then eventually it's been around for a little while. You've got enough data to support that it is now tried and true. Well, for me, the way that I've noticed, I don't think this is a new phenomenon, not for me anyway. I see the Toyota market has been crazy for as long as I've been in the business. So I believe that my argument would be, what is different now versus in the past that you would say, oh yeah, Toyota used to be good, but not anymore, so now you got to get a used one, right? I think that if you believe in that brand, like so many people do, there's no reason to think that a new Toyota that you buy today won't still be the rock solid investment 10 years from now that you believe a 10-year-old Toyota is. So anyway, Thank you for everyone hanging out. If you could, make sure you're tapping the screen, hitting the like button, hitting the thumbs up button. That helps me out a lot. That helps push me out to more people who can, see the content, hopefully ask some cool questions, learn maybe a thing or two about luxury cars or cars in general. So thank you very much for everybody who does that. It means a lot to me. And of course, if you're not following already, would love and appreciate a follow. But Chelsea, does the new tax bill cover business vehicles? I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that. Do you think the finance department will become obsolete in the future? No, I don't think so. I think that the finance department is probably the most important part of the dealership, because that's where I think that buying and selling a vehicle, or buying the vehicle itself, is not an overly complicated process. I think that maybe it is if you are working with a dealership that's not very transparent, but there's a lot of moving pieces that go in on the back end of a deal, and there's a lot of protection packages that I think make sense for you depending on what kind of car you buy and how you're going to use it, etc. So I think that finance departments are a big part of the automotive future for sure. When is the 26 S-Class coming out? Will there be changes? There won't be changes for 26. There will be changes for model year 27. So for everybody in Mercedes-Benz land that is waiting for updated vehicles, refreshed vehicles, model year 2027 are the cars that you are waiting for. Okay, model year 2026, with the exception of the E53 Wagon, which would be the only new vehicle that we've got coming, and the new CLA as well, and the new CLA electric and new CLA regular, if you will. Those will be model year 2026s, but everything else, S-Class, GLE, GLS, all of these vehicles that are going to get refreshed will be next year as model year 2027s. Okay. Most stranded car on the side of the road is Toyota. Worst service records by original owners. Interesting. Mike, is that data coming from somewhere? Keaton, do you actually think any warranties or extra protections on leases are worth the money? It depends on what kind of car you're getting and what kind of car owner you are. Okay, so for example, lease end protection is a very good one for maybe families that don't take super good care of their cars, right? They could be looking at a big excess wear and tear bill at the end of their lease. I've seen a lot of people that have avoided major bills because their kids trash cars and they just they're not interested in trying to keep up with keeping the car perfect, right? Or close to perfect. The big one that we see is tire and wheel protection. The roads here in Ohio and our surrounding states are in rough shape pretty much all around the clock, year round, and a lot of that has to do with our harsh winters and salt that gets put on the roads and all the major temperature fluctuations. And so tire and wheel protection packages are very popular because tires and wheels for luxury cars are expensive. Really for all cars, but Douglas, in general, with new car prices going up thanks to the tariffs, DC premium being placed on certain used ones, your Toyota video sparked this thought. Well, I think that for sure, if there are certain new cars that see a big price increase because of tariffs, then it stands to reason that new car pricing would follow, or used car pricing would follow. So, you look at what happened during COVID when new cars became extremely scarce and prices started going up very quickly there, the used car market followed shortly behind, right? So the used car market and the new car market are always tied together. Usually there's a bit of a lag effect there. It's typically a 3-year lag effect, and that just has to do with lease cycles, really. Because if you think about new cars that are sold today, however many of those are leased will generally re-enter the used car population in 3 years when those leases expire. Okay, but what happened in COVID, new car inventories dwindled quickly, prices went way up, and the used car market followed quickly behind, and used car prices started going up because the new car prices started going up. So yeah, if you've got new car prices that go up in a big way because of tariffs, then those used vehicles would probably follow right behind. Okay, thought on the current market for a slightly used E63 Wagon. I owned a 2019, reluctantly sold it, and now they seem to be priced 30% too high. Well, Joe, I think what you have to understand there is that the E63s have been, always been a very, very low production vehicle. In fact, fun fact, outside of V12 Maybachs, E63 wagons in the last 10 years or so were the only other Mercedes-Benz that you actually did have to order. So we as dealers tend to throw around the word order a little bit too much. It's a word that I really try never to use, because you don't actually order a Mercedes-Benz. The dealer that you're working with is already getting that car and you're just configuring it. But E63 wagons were an exception. You actually did have to request one of those to be built. So on top of that, with them being, or that and low production in general, there also were none produced for model year 2022, right? So model year 2022, there were no E63s produced. Model year 2023 was only the final edition. Okay, so you have to really go back all the way to 2021 to even find an E63, unless you want a 2023 final edition, but those are all the exact same car. So the market is very, there just really are not many of them, and that's pushed the price up. And now we've had, we didn't have production in 2022, we didn't have production in 2024 or 2025. So in the last 4 years or so, there's been one production year of E63 wagon.
Oh, E63 Wagon.
Do you think that's fair to say? Somebody just asked, they said that they feel like the used market on E63 wagons is maybe 30% higher than it used to be, and that makes sense to me, considering that there really hasn't been production.
Yeah, we didn't have them for like 5 years.
Yeah. They really have not made E63 wagons in a long time.
Yeah.
So if you find one...
Yeah, I mean, the last production year was 2021, because 2023 does not count, because
Right,
it
that
was
was just-
literally only final editions.
Exactly.
And 3 client cars. That was it.
Yeah.
So no 2022-ish, like barely any even in 2020 really, but like not even, that wasn't even technically a full production year.
Yeah, I don't think there was, because
Yeah.
that was a switchover year for...
Yeah, that was the final refresh of that generation for the
Yep.
E-Wagon, and
Yeah. So yeah, when you think of it in that way, E63 wagons have always been rare, but recently exceedingly rare.
Did you explain the order-only process of those things?
I did.
Nice, yeah.
I said, fun fact, that was really one of the only cars outside of a V12 Maybach that you actually had to order.
Yep.
So that was the other part of it, because I'll never forget, there was one year where we forgot to put in our order requests for E63 wagons. We eventually did get them, but we were like 2 months behind normal production because of it. Whereas normally you would just get allocated those cars. They would just show up in your inventory based on your historical sales. Not that way with that wagon. So, Joe, don't feel bad. Hindsight's always 20/20, right? We can never. There's a lot of cars that I'm sure many of us have owned that we wish we still had and don't. But anyway.
I wish I got an allocation for the one that we put in. That really tells you how.
Yeah, that's right. You did try to get one for 2023, didn't you?
Yeah, and there was no client production cars.
Yeah, that's right. So. Kenny has a 2014 E63S with 850 horsepower, Hellcat killer. Yeah, that sounds pretty wicked.
Okay, killers are such.
What's up?
My 1980 pickup truck smoked that thing.
Yeah?
Yeah,
How many horsepower are you putting down in that bad boy?
just under 1,000.
Really?
Yeah.
What are you going to do with all that? Nothing.
It sits in the garage.
Do burnouts in a parking lot somewhere?
Yeah, cars and coffee.
There you go. All right. What else? What else is going on? Thank you for everyone who's hitting that like button and the thumbs up button. I appreciate that. Very helpful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Marcus has a 2013 Rolls-Royce Ghost. Bought it this year with only 12,000 miles. Ironically, it's my daily, and it melts in Florida. The plastic on the knobs literally goes soft. Are newer Royces like this? Boy, I would hope not. I would hope not. Let's see. Bernuzzo heard that G-Wagons are stock. Is that true? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Oh, stuck. Stuck. Is the Sealy 63 coming out soon? Seriously waiting to trade my C43. Yeah, so Dr. Goat, we still do not have an official announcement on that car. Really hope that we will soon. I'm not expecting it until maybe this time next year, however. Are you an AI human? I am not AI, no. But I appreciate you asking. My RAV4 going stronger than your Benz. Really? Stronger than what Benz? Oh, no. No, G-Wagons aren't slow movers, no. The previous generation, not previous generation, but the pre-refresh cars, the 19s through 2024s, that market's cooled off a little bit, which is not unexpected now that the 25s have some new technology that most other cars have had for a very long time. So that was expected. We'd eventually get a little bit of a pullback there, but that's all relative, okay? These cars are still very amazing as far as the value that they've held relative to their original MSRPs, for sure. Wear a real tie as a prank. Oh man, could you imagine? I haven't worn a real tie in like over 10 years. Kind of crazy. Joe M owns a 24 Geely 53. Are we getting the Euro plug-in version 26? Are you talking about for the plug-in hybrid? Believe so, yes. Do you find stock of used EQSs and EQEs drying up? Yeah, so EQSs and EQE SUVs in general are drying up. So we actually are about to, I think, experience a very interesting phenomena here where you've got a car that a lot of people have determined they don't like. And so there's all of this 180 going on with every manufacturer, scaling back their production on these EVs. And so they're actually going to become very scarce. And so the people who do want them, I do expect the market prices to start coming up on those cars. So there are very, very few EQS SUVs even available for sale anywhere in the country right now, new ones. And so you're going to have some leases that come up in the next 12 to 18 months for sure. But if they stop selling that car here for an extended period of time, then yeah, prices will go up just because the vehicle will become very scarce. So, I get it. A lot of people don't like them, but for the people who do, it probably will become more expensive to buy them. Oh, George Saliba's buying all the G-Wagons at auction. I totally get that. How about the hybrid? So yeah, again, I think I would hope that production on the hybrids continues. We don't have any word there. I do think that the difference is that hybrids are a lot more palatable for consumers because you don't have to plug it in if you don't want to. Obviously, that incentive that you can capture on a lease is going to go away. I don't think it's going to matter a ton on the hybrids. I think that for me, actually, a hybrid probably, like, we're down to one EQS in stock. It's the one that I'm driving, and it's going to sell eventually here in the near future. And when that time comes, there is no replacement coming behind it, at least not for a little while. I might have a few 2026s in production, but I'll have to start driving, I think, a GLE 450 because I love the drive of the electric part of it. So I think that for people that could not get on board fully with an EV, these plug-in hybrids, I mean, a Geely gets up to 60 miles of all-electric range. So for most people's daily commute, that's more than enough, right? And if you take it on the road, fine. It turns into a gas car. She sells Mercedes is back. Only one EQE left. It's the only EV we have left on the lot. Yeah, so the EVs have dwindled pretty quickly. Another one, hey Doug, good stuff. Appreciate you taking the time out of your day to go live. I wasn't a Mercedes guy until I started following your content. I appreciate that. Rough payment on a 25 GLC 43 with the first payment down. If I can, here's the thing. If you want to connect with us, reach out to me. I'll get you a payment in, once I'm done with the live, of course, or someone on my team. We'll get you a payment super, super quick. All right. Do the plugins have any self-charging capability? Well, yes, they do have regen. Whenever I'm trying to say that word too fast, it never goes well. They do have regen braking, okay? So the car can recharge itself by using the built-in regen braking. Thank you for the follows, everybody. I appreciate that. As an investment, what's your view on a 2010 to 2011 SLS AMG? I only drive 500 to 1,000 miles a year. I think that those cars will steadily increase in value over time. Okay, the SLS was a very special car. They only made them for a few years, especially if you get a gull wing. Then I have no reason to believe that those will not either at least hold steady or continue to go up in value, because I really don't see Mercedes-Benz doing anything quite like that car again. It was the original SL was a gull-wing. It was an icon. The SLS really did a great job of recreating that magic, and plus they had the 6.2 liter V8 naturally aspirated engine that a lot of people would put in their engine hall of fame, right? That's a very, very special engine in that car, and I think that even though V8s are sticking around for a while or even making a comeback to some degree, that older style of naturally aspirated V8, you're probably not going to see cars like that anymore. So I think that's a very safe car to hold on to. So, Steven, halfway through my 2-year lease of an AMG EQE, I'm already at my mileage limit of 20,000 miles. Should I keep it and pay the extra mileage towards the end of the lease, or think about trading in now? So, Steven, if you're halfway through your lease, then that would mean you only have 12 payments left, so 3 of those can get waived, which means that you've only got 9 payments left. So really what you need to do is you need to calculate what is the cost of those 9 payments added up versus how many more miles at the rate you're driving, right? So it sounds like if you did a 2-year lease and you've driven 20,000 miles, that you'll drive 20,000 more. Okay, so if we take 20,000 more miles and we multiply that by 25 cents a mile, and then I don't know where you live, but we'll just use local taxes to us here. So you're looking at about a $5,400 mileage penalty right now. So if 9 of your payments is more than the $5,400, then you're probably best to wait. But keep in mind that there might be some incentives. If you want another EQE or another EV, for example, you really don't have much more time, because by the end of September, the incentives are going to go away for those cars. So, Dutton, why doesn't MB offer higher factory warranties to set themselves apart from the rest of luxury car makers? That's a great question. I think that obviously any luxury manufacturer could do that, and they could stand above. You know, all the German manufacturers have the same 4-year, 50,000-mile warranty. I do think that Mercedes has an amazing CPO warranty. The fact that it's an unlimited mileage warranty is extremely a powerful statement to the way that they feel about the brand and those cars. So, yeah, it might not be, you know, many years, but unlimited miles is a very powerful thing to stand behind. So, Ethan, how do I gain motivation in the car business again? I've lost motivation, don't like the dealership. Well, I was just going to say, Ethan, if you've lost motivation, a lot of times that's going to be a result of your surroundings and your environment. So I would say if you're not having fun, but you do love the car business, I would pick a new place to work. A lot of people lose sight of this, but whether you believe it or not, scientifically, you are a product of the people that you are around the most, right? So they call it the circle of 5, and it's meant to be the 5 people that are closest to in your life, that you spend the most time with and around, will have huge impacts on you, okay? But there's a lot of studies that show that just in your workplace, the people that you're around every day have a massive effect on your success, your attitude, your ability to perform, okay? So if you're around a lot of negativity, if you're around a lot of people that are not having fun, then you will become negative and you will not have fun, okay? No matter how strong-willed you are, eventually they will pull you down, okay? So there's evidence of taking people that are low to middle performers and sitting a super high performer next to them, either in the same office or in the same general workspace, and the person that was previously performing poorly, their performance actually starts to increase as they are around that high performer more often. Okay? So it's amazingly powerful. Colin, what's going on, brother? What's going on with your G63, buddy? We got to get that wrapped up. Love you. You grow, I grow. If your dealer sourced an SLS AMG with going doors, would MB do the financing? Looking to put 30 to 35% down max. That's a great question. Let's see how far back MB will go right now. I can't promise you that they will. So right now, Mercedes-Benz financial will go back as far as model year 2016. So wouldn't be able to get you a going that they would finance, unfortunately. Anyway, thank you again for everyone who's hanging out today. Thank you for everyone who's hitting the like button and tapping the screen and hitting the thumbs up button. And everybody who is a new follower today, thank you. Welcome. I hope you're enjoying yourself. There you go, Texas Reporter. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Jim Roman, absolutely true. That is absolutely true. Will Mercedes-Benz re-add augmented video nav for, yes, augmented video is available again, I do believe. I believe I saw it in the ordering guides. Lowest credit score you've seen get approved for a lease. I've seen people with upper 400s get approved through Mercedes-Benz because they paid Mercedes-Benz Financial Perfect in the past, right? So comparable auto history, previous auto loan history is super important. The media isn't showing this part of what happened. Okay, I don't know what that's about. Paul, does your dealer ever see any Rentec tuned Mercedes? On rare occasion. Not super often, but we do every now and then. Joey Betts, what's up with the football behind you? Just some footballs that won in some silent auctions. That one is Brian Brennan. The brown ball, and the white ball is Archie Griffin and Jim Tressel. Advice for a first-time GLS 450 user. Well, my advice would be enjoy. Congratulations on your new GLS. They're awesome. Daniel, I appreciate that. Thank you. No, Dutton, the limited mileage warranty can only be enacted by a vehicle being certified. So it has to go through the certified pre-owned process, and it has to be sold by a Mercedes-Benz dealer. So you can extend that warranty an additional 2 years, but no, you cannot buy it after the fact, because it's not just the warranty itself, it's also about the process that the car has to go through as far as reconditioning and servicing it up to its most, whatever has been recommended and required to that point of the vehicle's life has to be done and completed. Curious how your dealer has increased in MB sales rankings since your social media texts. That's a great question, and I think that when we get to the end of the year, I'll be able to answer that a little bit more with a little bit more clarity. You know, I started posting videos in July, beginning of July of last year, so it's been a little over a year now. And I would say that they started taking off by, let's call it September. Okay, so that's when things really started to get rolling. And then by the end of the year, I think people were comfortable enough with seeing, you know, me on social media every day to start reaching out to the store. So really, it wasn't until the beginning of this year that we had measurable data in increase in leads and increase in deals happening. So it's I just don't have enough data yet to confidently tell you. But I will say that we sell a lot of cars now every month to people that we meet who reach out because they watch the videos, and that is never lost on me how amazing that is, and I appreciate that everybody gives us the opportunity to work with them. So it's been really fun to have people call in from all over the country, people just to show up here who are local here in Cleveland and are like, I can't believe you're here. Like, I've been doing business here for years, or I've been here in the past, never knew you worked here. Or didn't realize that this is the store that you were at, right? So it's been like a really, really cool thing. And yeah, at the end of the year, I think we'll know what kind of impact it really, truly had. Audi is better. Okay. Well, cars are totally subjective, right? That's the beauty of cars. Sorry, just a moment. Sent to, okay. Does the low mileage 2019 C63S Coupe still hold its value in today's market? You know, Jason, I haven't looked at the market on those cars in a little while, but I will tell you that when those cars were out, and I am very on the record multiple times for saying this, that I believed at that time that there was no better car you could buy dollar for dollar if you wanted a sports car anywhere in the country. So I think that no matter what they cost now, even if they were close to their original MSRP, they would still be a great deal, because those cars were a blast. Super fun engine, beautifully styled, great tech. Love those C63S coupes. So yeah, if you could get your hands on one, I would say go for it. Those were awesome, awesome cars. I feel the same way about the CLE 53s now that I felt about the C63s then, you know, because the C63 then they had a coupe and a convertible and a sedan, but really sedan sales were a very small number compared to the coupes and cabs. And I think that when people think about the C63, they really did think about those coupes. And that's why the Sealy 53s now are so fantastic. So, Nick, as far as, I don't know about the $11,500 incentive on the lease cash. That is an enhancement of the $7,500 federal tax credit. We only know for sure that we have it through July. After July, who knows? My hope is that they'll continue that all the way up till September 30th when that federal tax credit goes away, but no way to know for sure. So you know that you will be able to find that on MBUSA.com for sure, and that's a good place to stay tuned to make sure. But yeah, here's what I will tell you, is that whether or not it goes away, it's not just us, dealers across the country, and I know this because every day I get between 2 and 5 dealer trade requests from other dealers that need either a GLC plug-in hybrid from me or a GLE plug-in hybrid from me. So the market everywhere has been crazy, and every day that you wait, less and less of them become available, right? So there's the incentive may or may not go away. We might still have that, but one of the issues that we're starting to run into is that with less selection, people that are a little bit pickier on what they want might not be able to get something that they're ultimately super happy with, okay? Because you have less to choose from, right? So hopefully that makes sense. Does your auto group have any connection to Hyundai? I don't, unfortunately. But, oh, well, I do have a local Hyundai dealer in town that is friendly. And so if you've got a Hyundai lease coming due, I can definitely help you. We can help you with that if you want to get into an MBEV. Absolutely, yeah. We can do that for sure. David, Audi is now the only manufacturer with the 190 days supply of new vehicles in North America. Only manufacturers that is not selling vehicles. Yeah, 190 days supply is pretty high. That's way up there, for sure. Here's a way more important question than any car question. What are we having for dinner tonight, Doug? Gonna go out with some friends tonight and have some Italian food. Dakota, I would love to get out of my Lincoln lease for a Mercedes-Benz. Let's do it, Dakota. Let's do it. I'm going to go for about another 5 minutes or so, and then I'm going to hop off and wrap up for the day. I do appreciate, again, everyone being here. Thank you for asking questions. I'm sorry that I can't get to all of them. I am monitoring a couple different screens here, and there's a lot of different chat feeds from all the various platforms, so I appreciate everybody who's here on TikTok and everyone who's here on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. Thank you for spending time with me today. Who knows, there might even be somebody watching on Twitch in here, right? That's a possibility. But thank you to everybody who is here and who is supportive. That means the world to me. Thank you to everybody who is hitting the like button and the follow button and the thumbs up button and all that kind of stuff. Because they're small gestures, but they help and they mean something to me. So I appreciate it. Mark, what is your favorite Mercedes model, past or present? Mine is the E. Yeah, I love E63 Wagons. I mean, my favorite cars of all time, the CLK GTR, really the CLK class in general, I love so much. I just think timeless styling, and it's really the car that made me fall in love with the brand when I was younger. Those CLKs of the early 2000s, you know, let's call it 2000 to 2005. I just thought they were so beautiful. And then the CLK GTR just, I think, is like the most epic car of all time. And the 190E, of course, is just such a cool story, such a cool car. So more currently, love the CLEs. The original CLS, what a great car that was. That was a game changer for the industry. That kind of introduced the concept of a 4-door coupe, right? I get it, coupes have 2 doors, but you get what I mean. The styling language of a coupe roofline, but with 4 doors. That spawned a lot of imitation cars like the Audi A7 and the BMW 6 Series Grand Coupes. You know, so there's a lot of really epic cars in the catalog, and I think we got a lot of really cool stuff coming as well. Mercedes has a ton of new product coming up over the next couple of years, so it's a really exciting time for the brand, and new leadership at MBUSA, and it's a great time to be with them. I mean, I've always loved this brand, but they're always doing something cool. There's so many different models, so much innovation, that there's always something cool going on. And yes, the GLS gets refreshed next year, so model year 2027. So remember, GLE, GLS, S-Class, all big refreshes next year, calendar year 2026, model year 2027, okay? The sticker on the printer behind you, that is just a salty water. It's an electrolyte drink. They messaged me on Instagram and they said, hey, we're going to send you some salty waters. They're like little, they're just like electrolyte drinks that have no caffeine, which is cool. You know, they just got some B6 vitamins and stuff like that, and salt, right? So to hydrate you. They're pretty good, and they gave me that cool sticker, so I was like, you know what? That was nice of them to send me some stuff, so I'll slap it up there for a little while. Just started at Land Rover, going to start some content soon. Don't soon, just do it, right? If it's always I'll do it soon, it will never happen, right? And I'm speaking from years of experience here of saying I was going to do it soon and then never getting around to it. But I wish you well, and get out there, start making the videos. They don't have to be good, right? Just you need to get in the habit of doing it. So, and business, Mark, has been fantastic. This month has been bananas. This week especially has been bananas. Walito, check out the super chat. Did I miss a super chat? Let's see. This is like a combined chat feed, so I must have missed something. I'm scrolling way up and see if I can see something here. I don't see anything. I might be missing it, but I will go to the YouTube feed specifically when I'm done here to make sure I didn't miss something. So I apologize if I did. In fact, let me see if I have any way to do that real quick. Let's see here. Join the live chat. Let's see. Are there ever deals on the E450 all-terrains? I want one instead of another SUV. Those are very low production cars, so they don't tend to have, crazy deals on them type of thing. But we deal on those cars for sure. Oh, Walito, thank you, brother. I see it. I found it here in the YouTube. Thank you for the gift. I appreciate that. How long does a custom G550 order take to arrive? Want to time and order perfect, so when my lease is up, I got 23 months left on my GLE 450 coupe. So it all depends, Walito, where you fall in the production schedule. The orders themselves, or the custom builds themselves, I should say, don't take an especially long time. It's about 3 months on a G-Wagon. There is a little bit more time for that car to get where it's built in Austria to the port in Germany and then make it here overseas. So there is a little bit more time in that process. But I would tell you right now, for example, I have several production slots for G550s available, by the way, for anybody that might be interested in doing a custom build. These are all cars that are scheduled to be built in the middle of October. They would be stateside by the middle to end of November, okay? And if they're released by then, which G550s generally release sometime mid to late November, then you would have it then. So today is July, so in this case, we'd be looking at a 5-month, lag, but it usually, or a 4-month, but it's usually less than that, right? So I would say 3 to 4 months on a G550. So we can definitely time that up for you if you ever want to go down that road. Audi versus BMW versus Benz best lease deal. I don't know the lease deals for Audi and BMW off the top of my head well enough to answer that question, unfortunately. Tim, love your content. Learn something new almost every post. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate that. Thank you for watching, and thank you to everybody else for watching. So I'm going to hop off now so I can wrap up the afternoon here at the store. But I appreciate everybody being here and hanging out today. This has been a lot of fun. I hope that you had a good time, and I hope everyone has a fantastic rest of your weekend. And then, I hope to see you on Monday. So thank